Good evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. We'll just wait a couple of more seconds so that you guys are here and you do not miss out the entire panel discussion. Good evening, Chitranjan. Good evening, Dolly. Brilliant. I see people are joining in. So, without a further delay, let's quickly set up the context of why we are here, what this panel discussion is all about. So, first of all, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And on the behalf of Mindler, I welcome each one of you today. We have a brilliant panel of distinguished personalities who will be sharing their insights today on the topic the impact of social summer schools on career advancements, a discussion on how summer school programs can help students gain the skills and the knowledge they need to succeed in their chosen careers. And it is my immense pleasure to you all to introduce you to all of them. So our first speaker with us is Bhakti Shah. Ms. Bhakti Shah, she's the Director of Institutional Outreach and Relations at Elonial Institute of Technology. She has a bachelor's in psychology from Fergusson Colleges, Pune, and a master's in international journalism from the University of Westminster, UK. She has over 15 years of experience in K-12 and higher education. She has worked across guidance, edtech, and university in the span of her career. She believes that universities are not destinations, they are knowledge ecosystem that can build capacity and skills to help communities evolve and progress. Higher education institution must act as a bridge between K-12 and industry, the real world of work to create the next generation of skilled and empathetic global citizens. Ms. Bhakti conducts workshop sessions for teachers, school leaders, students, parents on the changing landscape of higher education and the future world of work. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us your time today. Moving ahead, we have with us Professor Bulbul Chaudhary. She is the Pro Vice Chancellor, Admissions and Partnership at Atlas Skill Tech University. Professor Bulbul is an academician with more than 22 years of experience in higher education in the art and design sector. A science graduate and a university rank holder from the Delhi University, she went on to the all-rounder topper at NIFT New Delhi. Professor Bulbul has handled accounts of some of the world's leading apparel brands, including Gap, DKNY, CK, Tommy Hilfiger, to name a few. She has been associated as a faculty for design studies department head, external examiner, admissions head, and national head for some of the country's leading design schools, including NIFT, DSK, Wigan and Lee, Pearl Academy, Army Institute of Fashion, MIT, and is currently as working as the Pro Vice Chancellor. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing time with us today. Moving ahead, we have with us Ms. Kritika. Ms. Kritika, she's the founding board member of Vijay Bhumi University. She is also an alumnus of National Law University, Delhi. She has presented the country twice in the international moot court competitions in the USA. While at law school, she has intended with leading lawyers of the country, parliamentarians, and judges. She also worked as a student research fellow at the Center of Constitutional Law, Policy, and Governance. She has worked with the Law Commission of India on formulating the death penalty report. After graduating, she has been instrumental in setting up IFIM Law School in Bangalore and is a member of the founding team of Vijay Bhumi University. She also practices in the High Court and Supreme Court of India, and she is also a regular columnist of leading publications like Education Times, Times of India, and the Hindu. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. Moving ahead, we have with us Ms. Anju Deoskar. She's the Associate Director of Admissions Outreach at Frame University, Pune. She oversees many facets of the application and admission processes, including outreach activities pan-India and abroad, strategic planning, communication, working with the underlying software, and much more. Though she has started her work at Frame recently, but holds a long experience in admissions, marketing, and communication. The best part she says about her job remains to interact with current students who share their experience at Flame and prospective students as they navigate through their own unique college searches. She works closely with the school counselors, educators of secondary schools, offering various boards like SSC, CBSE, ICSE, and IB, and other international boards. Last but not the least, we have with us Professor Divakar Shukla, Dean Faculty of Journalism and Creative Studies, Head of Advancement and International Affairs. Professor Divakar Shukla has more than 2 decades of experience in the field of social brand communication, new media technologies, and corporate social responsibilities with various premier organizations like World Bank, Netherlands Embassy, along with over 14 years at world's largest communication organization, Ogilvy. He brings with him a deep understanding of the behavior and mindsets of communities and consumers, especially across Asians and Indian countries, applications of the same in the field of social and brand management. As a former managing partner of the Ogilvy, he designed and led various award-winning campaigns in social marketing and causing marketing media and CSR for global brand portfolio, including Harvard Business Schools, Hindustan Unilever, Rolls-Royce, and many other premium organizations. Prior to Ogilvy, he worked with Indo-Dutch bilateral program as a social scientist, where he facilitated the development of encyclopedia study of women in North India. He has also worked on World Bank and European Union projects with the Indian Express in the areas of communication for development and social marketing. He's the professor and dean faculty of journalism and creative studies. The faculty is made up of two flagship schools, which Jagran School of Journalism and Communication and Jagran School of Visual Arts, Design at Jagran Lake University. He also leads the advancement and international affairs at Jagran Lake University, Bhopal. He teaches communication for development, consumer behavior development, journalism, advertising, and digital storytelling. Thank you so much, all the panelists, for joining us today. Last but not the least, I will introduce you all to the moderator of today's panel discussion, which is Abhishek. Abhishek Gulati is a management graduate from University College London with successful summer credentials at London School of Economics and HSC Paris. He is dedicated mentor when it comes to guiding students to Ivy Leagues and G5 institution. He is also a profile building expert, trains students in their journey to make it world's best university. He is also visiting faculty at Jain CMS, Bangalore, and Miles School of Branding and Advertising, Mumbai. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. Over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you so much, Ishwara. That's very kind of you. And a very warm welcome again to everyone who's joined us. And thank you so much to all the panelists here. I have personally interacted with them, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation because, like you heard, this is very dear to me because summer schools have been a great learning experience for me personally. And today, the importance because of the universities that all of you come from have provided. Ishwara, is the voice okay?
No, I think it's not.
It's a little low.
The quality is not.
Okay,
so.
fair enough. I'll just quickly fix it. Better now? Excellent. Great. Sounds good. Just to quickly jump into this so that everyone understands, I would like to request all our panelists to answer a couple of questions for me, and then we can get the ball rolling. What exactly are summer schools? Because I'm assuming some of us are not aware what summer schools actually are. And how do they actually start contributing in a high school student's journey? Kritika, would you like to begin talking about it?
Sure. Thank you so much. Firstly, thank you for the kind introduction. And thank you so much, Mindler, for having us. A good evening to everybody. A good evening to all my fellow panelists. Very excited to be conversing with all of you. So I think a summer school, if I had to define it, it is an experience out of school and out of your regular life that gives you a little bit of a chance to explore other things which you wouldn't do in your routine life. I mean, that's the way I would see it. And I definitely think that summer schools today, especially the way they're being developed by private organizations, by universities, etc., I really feel that self-discovery, career discovery has become at the center of it, which is wonderful. Because back in the day when we were in school, summer schools were more of an avenue where, it would be used to probably promote some particular hobby, and it would be just reduced to a hobby building sort of an activity that one would do in summer, like art, craft, music, and dance. But I think now with a lot of universities and private organizations coming in, applying their mind to it, we have sort of realized that, students need multiple outlets to be able to experience different things because they're at a very crucial junction, right? Where they're making very important decisions of what they should be studying after, what are the sort of pathways that they should be taking. And we also realize in today's world, the number of careers, the number of pathways, the number of disciplines you can be studying, it's really not possible for these students to get that exposure while they're in school, where they have timetables, they have exams, there are a lot of other things that are happening. So you really don't get that time to explore. So these summer schools, I think, have become great outlets where you can actually explore these different disciplines, get exposed to what is the new, new emerging technologies that are coming in, what are the new emerging streams that are coming in. They also become great outlets for you to actually interact with industry professionals, right? If you look at, the new age summer schools that you have, they're probably, like, I would say, they look at three central theme areas. One is knowledge building. Second is to give them the professional experience, where you actually have people from the profession who are coming and addressing them, where kids can get an idea of actually what it's like to be practicing in each of these fields. And the third really also being their personality development. So I see a lot of wholesome and comprehensive work that is being done in summer schools, which is something that is very essential at this point of time. It very much supplements what you're also in a way, going through at school. It exposes your minds to very many different things. The idea of being in a different setting, I always feel, opens your mind to a number of opportunities. So I feel that it plays a very, very crucial role in career advancement. But over to my other panelists, I'm sure we're going to be discussing these themes in detail. So over to the rest, and I would love to hear from them.
Thank you, Kritika. I think you started on a very good front and talking about exposure, which I think is very necessary. That's what summer schools start with the mindset for. Bhakti, would you like to add to that?
No, I think Kritika's covered it very well. Summer schools essentially, I mean, first of all, the word summer is misleading because this learning can happen at any point in winter as well. There are winter schools now. So let's just call them pre-college experiences I think that's a little bit more comprehensive and all-encompassing. I think, but anything that is a residential experience in a university or in a non-school setting could translate as a summer school, where the idea is to break the confines of traditional classroom learning curriculum that is typically followed in K-12. And I think it's a great time to start opening the minds of students to what lies beyond, not just from an academic perspective, but also from, I think, more so from an interpersonal and a social perspective. Because when you're in school, you're in a comfort zone. You're used to a certain, sort of way that you are and the people that you interact with, whether it's your teachers or your friends. I think summer schools or any of these pre-college programs are a great way to expose students to what lies beyond and gently open them up into the college experience. So I think it's a good segue into college experiences, but there are different formats and different formats serve different purposes. I've seen some extremely outdated summer school formats that are still being run. I think I like the fact that Kritika used the term new age, because I think one of the hallmarks of a great summer school is how different is it this year than it was last year? Is it different? Are you learning from what you did the year before? Are you integrating newer experiences? Are you involving maybe industry feedback in how you're developing it? Because if you are looking at grade 12 students, then I think somewhere beyond college preparedness also comes into play. Skill development for the workplace also starts coming into play. So these are just my opening remarks. I'll stop there and we can get into further conversation.
I think Bhakti already touched upon a very important point, because we see students that they start 1 year and they're like, summer school has to be just done once. Why can't be it a consistent affair where they can learn every year? So that's a very relevant point. Anju would surely love to hear your thoughts as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'll just speak a few points which maybe, are different from what, Bhakti and Kritika has covered. One is, I think summer school essentially is, again, like Kritika and Bhakti mentioned, one component is that you go out and learn something new or develop something that you've been very passionate about. But I think the setting is where I think students must go out there and understand the rigor of the university life. It's not the school, protected or very, planned environment, which is just like student centered and, everybody's offering things to a student in a school. In the university, yes, we take care of them. We are very aware of what they're, what we should be offering them. But at the same time, the kind of initiative the students have to take, and that's what the setting is. So one thing is that they come out and understand the rigor of a university life. Second thing is, I think the summer schools essentially now again everybody has their own program that they develop, and it could differ. Some could be technology, some could be creativity, some could be like, there's so many fields. But I think it is essentially this, you should be able to choose the right one for yourself, because this program is designed for youngsters who are at the cusp of taking one of the most defining decision of their academic lives. So yes, and there's the good thing is there are so many options in your country, outside your country, within your budget, depending on what you want to, what you can afford and how much can you spend. It's everything is just available.
No, thank you so much for that, Anju. And again, very relevant points that add to the conversation. Professor Chaudhary, coming to you last with this, would love to hear your inputs.
Hi, thanks, Abhishek. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Lovely to see all my colleagues and those I can't see as well, but I reckon the names. Thank you for having us here, and I hope we can add some value to a fairly well-informed audience that is attending the session. So, Abhishek, I think like everything else, summer school is a process of discovery, right? You discover something about yourself, some facet about yourself that you are not aware of already. And given that summer is the only time that in a fairly rigorous academic curriculum, you seem to get the time to, reflect upon things and how best could you possibly use the summer school. And I'm just thinking about how when we were young, the summer school meant going to Nani Dadi's house and learning something by the way, and very fond memories of all of that as well. But I think in this process of discovery, there needs to be a certain science, and that happens by way of various summer schools that are available to us. Just the fact that, you may have been in a school where you may have been from kindergarten until class 9th, 10th, 11th with a certain set of people that you're so accustomed to. Here is an opportunity to meet a whole lot of new people from all kinds of backgrounds, whether they are your peers, people coming from different geographies, different set of teachers who may have other ways to in which to teach you, and you discover for yourself, oh, is this also a way I could learn? Is this also a way that things can be taught? Is there also a way, oh, by the way, I didn't know I was good at this, right? You need someone to sometimes acknowledge. And I think this whole process of discovery, of meeting a new set of people, friends, peers, teachers, guest faculty that you may interact with, sometimes it could be a different geography. You're going to another city. And there's so much that city can teach you as well, right? Just from how you travel to how you interact, to how people communicate. Learning new skills, and now whether these skills are something that you will use immediately or certain skills come handy at a much later point in life. It's interesting how we can connect dots, right, in life, and you never knew this would be useful. And I think all of this adds up to this whole process of discovering yourself, discovering parts of you, nuances about yourself that you didn't know existed for you. And I think that for me is really the promise of a summer school. I, however, must say that sometimes a very formatted summer school, a very regimental summer school does not mean, you could still do a lot more. Like yesterday, I was talking to this young girl and I felt that she should just go up there to the Himalayas and join a mountaineering course and climb the hills, right? And I thought she was wondering, why would I give her that suggestion, right? Because that itself can be, being close to nature, and it takes time. It needs time to travel. So you could do a whole lot of other things. Of course, summer school is a formatted offering that a lot of us offer. And you can, like Anju rightly said, see what works best for you. What is the slant? What is the accent? What is the flavor? But also plan your time, right? Whether it's summer, winter, any of those, into really discovering yourself. So that, my 2 pennies.
I absolutely would like to second that point, because I realized in a summer school that this is what I don't want to do. I realized what definitely was not meant for me. So this is a great example. Thank you, Professor Chaudhary. Because the points you have raised are so relevant, I want to just shift the question I had in mind and move to also considering the board examinations happening, college readiness has been a major issue for students. And most of us don't even know what to expect when we go to colleges. So how do you feel that summer schools act as the perfect agent or a gap to bridge that, so I can mentally prepare myself to go to a university and get the best out of it, right? So what's your take on it and how your universities are preparing for it? Bhakti, would you like to go first this time?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. The one of the key outcomes or goals, rather, of summer schools is college preparedness. And I think the first thing that I look at is academic rigor and sort of adapting to the way things are taught in college or subjects are taught in college or just pedagogy in college, depending again on which college it is. But most often than not, students will discover that the subjects that they traditionally thought they did not like, they look at it in a whole new light when they are taught those subjects in a summer school or a winter school, simply because of the who's teaching it and how. So I think a new way or a new relationship with academic subjects is one thing that a summer school can open up in terms of college readiness. The second thing is, of course, I would say networking opportunities. It's always a good idea to go to a summer school and meet with other students and have that kind of a peer exposure, where you also discover what others around you are doing beyond your social sort of regular circles. I also think skill development is critical. The kind of skills that you require to survive or to make it in college or to get through college are quite different. And I'm talking about social and emotional skills. They're very, very different. So I think, of course, it's a lot to expect a 16-year-old to come fully transformed and zen after like 2 weeks in a happening college environment. But definitely there is a little bit of mind opening that's happening, and it links back to the point that you made, that it's not a one time thing. I think the counselors that are here and also parents and all of us need to change our mindset that just because a student has done summer school in grade 9 does not mean that they should not repeat it in grade 11. I think, in fact, grade 9 and grade 11 are the two times they should actually absolutely do summer schools. It gives them a break in the middle as well, and they can do two different types of experiences as well. So these are some of the points. And last but not the least, of course, resume building, because when that's demonstrated interest, straight away, if you participate in summer schools, whether they are generic in nature or very specific to certain academic courses, I think it demonstrates proactiveness, exposure, and in many cases, your commitment to learn the subject that you want to pursue ultimately. So I'll pause there. There are many more, but I'm sure my co-panelists have a lot to add as well.
No, I think you brought up a very interesting term in the conversation about demonstrated interest, and summer schools by far are one of the most important way to prove that. So thank you for that, Bhakti. Anju, your perspective on this.
So, I really like the point that Bulbul made, that the summer schools and what Bhakti also had, by summers. So I'm just taking the two pieces from there. Learning never stops. The thing is that, the way the national curriculum of, in India is set up, do you know, when the student enrolls in a formal schooling, suppose grade 1, they don't get a break ever. They are like, year after year after year after year. They just prepare for exams, give exams, go to the next class. And this is just happening. I think all we need, and this is again my learnings from IB, you need time for reflection. Summer school is important for two aspects, very, very importantly, in my opinion. One is to just go find yourself and find out what you don't know. It's good to know what you don't know, and try to do some of those pieces, because the best things, and I say this often, happen by accident. Accidentally, you take up a class of maybe coding, where you hated coding and computers, but you just go. And by the way, this is an experience of my summer school student from 2 years ago that I'm just quoting. I mean, she wanted to be away from computers. She's pursuing computer science because she loved the class of computer science in the summer program. So it is really important for resume building. These are the requirements of the organization. That is one point, which is very important. We must. But the most important point is that you should be curious to know, what you don't know. Go out in the unknown territory. Summer schools are really fun because I think you attract crowd from very, very diverse. I mean, for example, if I have to speak for our university, all of present here, we have students from maybe 60, 70 cities coming for a program from different school, different backgrounds. How much fun is it to integrate, to sit in that class together and know each other's perspective? And that is it. So reflection, please, students, parents and students, give yourselves a time to reflect. It's not important to keep feeding. You get you to digest what you eat, right? So take some time to digest this. And summer school is the best time where you're not being assessed. You just learn carefree. You may love it, you may fail at it, you may excel in it. So just these experiences are very important, because again, like I mentioned, you're at the cusp of your taking most important decision of your academic life ahead. Maybe you just find the right choice. And I think we just overemphasize so much of putting everything into our CVs, everything. Please do this for yourself. Don't worry about what we want or what the world wants. Just do it for yourself. Go out, learn, make mistakes. This is your reflection time. And yeah, I look at summer schools like that, because you may be most passionate about economics and you join a university for a summer school, do a course in economics, and then you come back and say that, hey, you know what, I don't even want to do this. So go with open mind. Maybe you come across something which you were not thinking you will love, and then you fall in love with it. So this is for exposure, to do multiple things. Don't care whether you're doing A, B, C. Let me tell you, even your undergraduation today is just a foundation education. You don't get great jobs just after an undergrad. You got to, specialize so much more into an area. So summer school, don't put pressure on yourself. Go have fun. Just reflect on your learnings of the schools and the program without being, in any fearful atmosphere.
Again, I think, Anju, what you mentioned about people coming from across the country, understanding of diversity, I think that's very important.
Yeah.
If I'm coming from North India, going to a different part of the country altogether, that's the kind of people I'll interact with and smartest people in the country. So absolutely. Professor Chaudhary, what's your take on this?
Hi, Abhishek. I think your question was on
College
what does we as a university do towards college preparedness. So for those of you who know or do not know, at Atlas, that's the university I represent, our summer school is special in that it has a huge creative slant. Right? We are known for our design school, and this particular offering is a design offering, which means that all things designed, right? Things like, when a student, first of all, when a child has thought of design, that itself is a very tough decision, Abhishek. Because in this country where, most countries, why should we just say ours? Most recently, I saw that's also happening in other parts where STEM is the most celebrated program. If you're doing, if a child walks up to the father and says, hey, listen, I want to study engineering, I think the dad's going to be so happy, or I want to be a doctor or anything such as that. Design itself sometimes is something that a lot of people are not very certain about, right? So I think when I say that this is a design school with a creative slant, we are talking about first of all, I think for an individual, are we helping him, like Anju rightly said, enjoy yourself? Here is a young one who finds himself, a creative young one who finds himself in the midst of so many like him. Right. And he realizes he's not that one single child in a class of 30 or 40 who was creative and sort of an outlier. There are so many like him who want to look at creative pursuits in life. Right. A. B, that design is a serious career. Right. You can be a product designer. You can be an industrial designer. You can be a graphic designer. You can be a strategic design manager. You also interact with seniors in the university, students who are writing, who are taking internships, who are readying themselves for final placements. You interact with alumni. So I think more than anything, it's a huge surge of confidence to fortify what you're good at without guilt, without wondering, without uncertainty. So I think for me, that is a huge takeaway as far as our contribution to the summer school is concerned. The other thing is, when you want to get into a design school, whether in India or anywhere internationally, one of the things that universities will ask you for is a design portfolio. Now, it's a measure of your intent, isn't it? If you want to be a cricketer, you start playing cricket. You want to go to IIT, you go and join some classes. What does a designer do? A designer starts to prepare a portfolio, and a portfolio takes a while to prepare, right? Because you keep looking at the same piece of work and you know you can do better, right? Now, how do you get started? A lot of students say, okay, I do want a portfolio, but really I don't even know what I can put on a portfolio. And it's not very helpful to say, put all your creative stuff. Now, creativity means everything from poetry, drawing, sketching, doodles, all of that. Now, here is an opportunity for them to really know what a portfolio is and begin to build their first portfolio ever. Right? And that is an enabler for them to get into a university, whether our own university or any other design university in the country or anywhere else in the world. And I think third, Abhishek, which I am a big fan of, is skills, right? Is a big way for you to know yourself. Anything that you do with your own hands gives you a certain confidence that very few things can. So whether you are learning how to animate, 2D animation, 3D animation, 3D printing, whether you're learning soft skills, fashion design, working with material, making things with your own hands, interiors, understanding sustainable materials. But when you're making things with your own hands and developing skills, which will last you a lifetime, it just makes life so much richer, right? I mean, of course, they'll map to what you want to do if you're going to a creative university, but even otherwise, it's useful to have in life. So I think skill building a portfolio for yourself, and therefore getting into a university at a later point in time. As well as in our school, we also, in the university, on completion of the summer school, each of the students is awarded a Parsons certificate. Since this is a Parsons curriculum, which is one of the most highly ranked design schools globally, all the students get the pre-college academy or summer school. Bhakti rightly said, call it a pre-college academy rather than a summer school, but we use the word summer school because that's more easily understood. So they get this certification, which is a sort of an endorsement. Every child likes a completion, right? So it's an endorsement of having gone through a 60 hours module, which has built certain skills that you can further develop upon. So I think those are some of my inputs, Abhishek, on how we look at the summer school and university preparedness through the summer school.
No, those are wonderful points. And I'm glad you broke it down to 3 parts. I think I'm glad you took example of engineering here, because I personally feel engineers and designers are both problem solvers. It's the same profession done differently. And this allows students to actually go and explore it to the right extent. And also the point of validation that, okay, they have no pressure, but they're getting a sense of validation through the certification. So thank you for that. Kritika, coming to you at last for this, what's your take and how do you feel your university is preparing them?
So I think a lot has been covered by my co-panelists. So like I think we've all been discussing, right? Summer schools are a great platform for you to try experiences which are otherwise not offered to you in routine life, time for introspection, reflection. We talked about college preparedness, getting exposed to different careers. Now, I think the biggest challenge that we've observed when students especially move from school to college is the fact that suddenly when they come to college and university, they realize there's nobody to take decisions for them. Because in India, we're so used to the fact that especially when you're in school, you're in like this cocoon and, you have like 10 other people who are taking decisions for you. The students actually don't get too much of a chance to be able to take decisions on their own. And that's why we see a lot of students that when they go to universities, they start struggling because, with the new age curriculums that are coming in, there is a lot of decision making that needs to happen on the part of the student. So I think that even with the new age summer schools that are even happening in India today, this part is also being taken care of today because there are multiple pathways that are being offered to students where they learn to take decisions about, what sort of pathway they want to take, what is the direction that they want to take, so that it just makes them independent thinkers. And this is very, very important, especially from when you're transitioning from school to, university. And I feel summer schools are also being used in a great way to fill in the voids that are not there in the system, like, certain experiences that we talk about that are not existing today. And I think one of the most key thing is we all talk about research, right? And we talk about the importance of students engaging in research. But as unfortunate as it is, there is actually not much that, school students have, at a school level where they're able to engage in research. So as a university, and I think this is an example also of how universities like ours, like, Bulbul's, like Flame, Bhakti's university is actually working with the school ecosystem to offer a more comprehensive experience. So like, for example, our summer program is focused towards research and helping students build an academic publication, something that stays with them, something that they can put on their profile, something where they're being mentored by a university faculty, somebody who specializes in that area and can give them good quality inputs and help them build a good quality publication. Right. So I think all of us in our own little ways are trying to bring in those experiences that are actually missing from the landscape and make the entire ecosystem more comprehensive and more wholesome to be able to facilitate as much career discovery as possible. So today we do it in Vijayabhumi through the Vijayabhumi School Research Incubation Program that we have, where students are completely free. Like I said, when it comes to decision making, we tell them that you are absolutely free, choose whatever discipline you want to, choose whatever topic you want to. According to your area of interest and what you pick, we will allot you a faculty mentor who will work with you virtually for 3 months and help you develop an academic publication. And the top publications, we realize that, now these publications are being created, but unfortunately there's no journal for school researchers to publish in India. So we actually started a school research journal. So the top papers we end up publishing there, and the papers that don't make the cut, we actually help the students further to go and publish it in other portals as well. So these are the little steps that we're doing. And I think another point that is being discussed in the chat box, and I'm sure my colleagues here would also like to add to that, there is one very stereotypical notion that is attached that, summer schools are expensive. And I think all of us here should address it, because now I think, with, new age Indian universities also developing these very forward-looking curriculums in summer schools, I think would like to use this platform to tell people that there are more than enough options in India. And in fact, you should look at the curriculums. I mean, it's really amazing. Each of the universities have put in so much of work into developing these curriculums. And probably I'm not wrong in saying this, they're probably as good as your foreign counterparts as well, and at a much more accessible price point. So if you guys think that, there are not options for you and there are some financial issues because of which it's not accessible to you, guys, that's not true. All the information is available online, and there are multiple Indian universities also that have excellent summer school programs that you guys must explore.
No, I think, Kritika, that's the most relevant point of the conversation. There's a big miscommunication about it, or people assume this to be true. In fact, there's scholarships available at the best summer schools possible, and you can all access it. I think if you really want to do it, this is a possibility. So that's a very valid concern. Now, we all know we have made fabulous summer program. Anju, please go ahead, please.
Sorry, I missed the point initially about the program. And since, we just spoke about the design. And so, we've been doing the summer immersion program at Flame, which was more centered in liberal education. And when you say liberal education, it basically covers multiple disciplines. And taking from the industry feedback, this year we're doing 2 tracks. This is for, very, very helpful for students. So 60% of our curriculum in the summer school will be based in liberal education, where you might be learning about, film appreciation, digital footprint, data visualization, some of the public policy, psychology, mathematics, all of these classes. And then you have an option to choose a track. One focuses on design, the other one on computer science, because we feel that both of these subject domains, I think everybody should know a little bit about before they really, make choices, because this is, again, like I said, opportunity to come and just explore to really figure out what is your interest. So I've posted the link over there. Anybody wants to know more, because there were questions, they want to know what do we do. So I don't want to take more time, but people should really, look at those, the link that I've posted. That's it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for adding that, Anju. And that's, again, I'm going to circle back to you in a second. Very quickly, moving on to the second part. Now, all of us have made fabulous programs, and I think you experienced this as being part of universities. It's not only with the summer programs or pre-college programs, but we want to make sure that students make the best out of it. And one concern I have seen with parents is, okay, we're going to send them for a summer school, but how can I tell my kid to make the best out of the experience, right? So what are those few tips you would like to share that a kid can come into the summer program or pre-college program and definitely use it to the best of their advantage? I know all of you covered some points early on, but would you like to build on that? Anju, why don't you start this time?
Sure. So I think the most important thing when the students come in, what the parents expect. So I'll tell you about. I can speak about my university. They expect that you go to a class. This is a university, not a school. So that's first thing that the students need to come. It's not going to be like you have a timetable where like from morning 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock you have class after class after class. So there's certain modules which are like you have maybe a topic covered 4 hours of lecturing on a particular topic. We give them time to reflect, build upon, talk to those the diverse community that is part of the summer program. So you have to give them little free time in between to work, like how university students actually work. You attend a class of 1 hour and then you go and work for 3 hours to really come prepared for the next class. So this is the basic module that we follow, but it might be different for other universities, and it gives a very, very holistic understanding to a high school student who's coming in from a very structured timetable experience. And then when you come here, you have certain classes you have to attend, you have to juggle between doing maximum things. There's sports, there's other immersive programs where they have some projects, field trips, and so I think there's lots that the students can cover. And again, some of them just cover to network. They just want to study, just take the academic part lightly, but they're social people. They want to make more friends and create a good networking. So it depends really on what your goal is. Then there are ones who are very, very academically oriented, who want to develop the knowledge component of it. For them, the good news is that they have a professor as a mentor even after they leave the summer school. We have students who finish the summer school and they still look for all the mentoring from the professors, because you've already touched base with them, you've sat in their classes, and they're very happy to help those students. So it really depends on what your goal is when you choosing a program. And I think the question I'm going to throw back, that you must come prepared. Why are you going? And then pick up what what you can while the program is on.
I think they need to find their motivation as well. That's very
100%.
absolutely. No, of course. Professor Chaudhary.
Okay, Abhishek, I think your question was how do you make the most of a summer school?
Yes.
How does a parent ensure that the child takes away? See, the only way to do it is, in anything in life for that matter, is you have to be fully participative. If I want something out of, I want to enjoy a movie, I must fully be there, present to it, right? I want to make the most of my summer school. I have to, of course, all universities will ensure, and one of the reasons why there's a certain cost to these summer schools is because it is not left to visiting faculty members, full core teachers who make this experience happen to you in a much shorter duration. So in terms of effort, pedagogical discussions, curriculum, everything that happens in a university for a full-time student, and possibly more, goes into planning of a summer school, because you're curating that experience for them. But having said that, I think the best way for a student to be able to take away as much as possible from a summer school is by being completely participative, which means it may be useful for him to know what is he or she signing up for, right? Look at what is the summer school, what is the biggest takeaway from the summer school. Maybe one of the ways to do it is also talk to people who've done the summer school in the past, right? Each of us have been running our schools for a bit. So, and it's easy these days, I'm sure you. So talk to people who've done the summer school. What were their takeaways? What could they make of it eventually in time in life? Most universities also conduct open days to tell people about what is their summer school about. Faculty members who are likely to conduct would come and share what is it that they are going to bring to the table. So try and attend as many of these open days. And I think the more you're prepared to learn from this process, and of course come with a little bit of an open mind as well, because if you know everything that you wanted out of it, then probably you must leave some space for certain other learnings as well. So I think your own preparedness, your own willingness to deep dive or sort of totally immerse in the process and give it all. I think that is, and of course all universities will ensure from their own experience of having done summer schools in the past, Every year, each of us sit on the table and we try and better that experience. Take away maximum learnings in sort of a relatively smaller, units of time. So universities will do their bit, but just your own preparedness, like Anju rightly said earlier, will help you get the most of it.
No, of course, that's important as well, because I know I like the fact that you mentioned that I can't come fully prepared also. I need to lead to room some flexibility. Bhakti, before I come to you, I want to just make a tweak in the question. I want you to talk from an international perspective because the school is international. So how can student leverage that too?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I just want to say I agree with Kritika and Anju, and I agree with Bulbul. There are some amazing opportunities in India now. Yes, I represent Illinois Institute of Technology, which is based in Chicago, and we have an excellent pre-college program. But there is definitely a price difference, and I think that while that experience is a very different experience, and I think it all boils down to the purpose. Like again, Anju and Bulbul said, why are you doing this? And if you look at what everyone has just said, it's almost like a mini it's almost like a mini college selection process, right? That's exactly what it is when you're selecting the right summer program. So if you look at the steps, they're very, very similar. So when you're looking at a summer program, like Bulbul said, attend their sessions, attend open days, seek information, keep an open mind. All of these things are also very akin to the college selection process. Now, why is it different with an international universities? Of course, you're not talking about going to a different city, you're talking about going to a different country, especially a country like United States. It is exciting. It is also, for us 15 or 16-year-old, it can be life changing, and it is life changing. And we've seen students who've come to us from not just from India, but like countries like Azerbaijan and Romania, and I mean, all kinds of places on earth. And it's a mini United Nations when you attend one of these summer programs in an international university. Cost is a factor. There are many universities that offer scholarships. We do have partnerships with high schools where we offer a subsidized cost for our partner high school students. So that is always within reach. We're also launching a scholarship program for our summer schools, because at the end of the day, it's not just about who has the money in their pocket. We also want meritorious students. Our engineering and computation and architecture programs are very tough to get into. So for us, it's equally important to do early spotting of highly meritorious students and nurture them. So it's as important for us as a university to attract them as it is for them to have that experience. I think how they can make the most of it. Now, imagine you're spending all that money, you're going, especially abroad, to do summer course. I think there are a few things here. One is, of course, like anything else in life, like Bulbul said, you need to have a goal. Like, what is the context? Why are you doing this? What's your purpose, right, of doing it? Are you doing it because you want to eliminate you want to reiterate and prove to yourself that yes, I want to do computer science, and so I'm going to do a computer science summer program, and I'm going to come back and be even more in love with it? Or are you doing a course that you are not entirely sure of, and you're doing it from an elimination perspective? Are you doing it from a cultural exposure perspective? Are you doing it because everybody else around you is doing it and you simply don't care, you just want to have fun? And we're talking about 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, so that's a real possibility, and it happens very often. So what is your goal and context? Interestingly, Abhishek, I've seen parents sending their children to US summer schools or even to our summer school, because they are like, we don't want our children to study abroad in undergrad. We don't want them to be away for those 4 years, but we definitely want them to get that international exposure. So we are trying to send them for 2 summer schools in the span of their middle and high school, right, to the US, which gives them the exposure but does not send them away for so long, and it's more cost effective. So that's another way of looking at it. So set a clear goal is a very important thing for making the most of your summer school. Once you know what your goal is, you will not be disappointed then, and you'll approach it that way, and you will select your school that way. The second is, again, participation is critical. Please, engage. Like, students need to engage. Students need to be fearless, ask questions. They need to understand that this is not a school classroom where they will be asked to sit down and not ask questions, right? Which again, I think is changing a lot in our schools as well. But in university, it's an entirely different ballgame. taking advantage of resources. Again, now I think students are not oriented to the fact that you're signing up for a summer school means you have access to the space of the university. You can visit the library, you can look at labs, you can ask for an experience. If you see one, you never know what you can get when you're in that space. Seek feedback and seek mentors. I think that is very, very important. Seeking feedback from faculty and creating mentors, because again, we've had professors teaching students who've gone on to give them letters of recommendation as the head of their summer school program, who've got to know them so well that they've actually given these students letters of recommendation for their college applications. And that really works. Last 2 points, networking. I've already talked about it. I'm not going to get into great detail. And the last, but the most important thing, have fun. Just have fun. Just enjoy it. It's not a picnic, but it kind of is too, right? I mean, so just have fun. Yeah.
No, those are very important points. And I think I want to just give an example. We had a student last year go to U Chicago, got a recommendation letter, and he's made it to all the Ivies where he wanted to go to. And that's such a wonder because of that recommendation. And of course, please, I'm glad you mentioned at the last to enjoy and have the best time at summer schools. That's very important too. Kritika, would love to hear your input.
So I think a lot has been covered by my co-panelists already, but I think there's one message that I guess probably even resonates with the panel here that I'd like to give to the parents, if there are any who are attending this conversation. There tends to be this checklist in the minds of the parents that, for a, stellar admission application, these are the things that one needs to do in school, and summer schools are somewhere right there up there. I think to all the parents, I would like to say, please don't force your kids to do anything. See, like I think all of us are talking about, I mean, Bulbul gave this example that somebody could just go and discover themselves while doing mountaineering in the Himalayas. Similarly, somebody could just go discover what they want to do while, they're doing an internship, probably shadowing a professional, and, just going and exploring something with a professional in a field that they're interested in. So I think most importantly, I mean, you need to get the alignment of the student. Right. And I think to get the alignment of the student, let the agency choice making start from the student. Let them take the proactive step of doing the research, finding out which are the universities. Probably parents can give them a budget, that this is the budget that we're looking at in case the student is interested in a summer experience, and let the student explore on their own. I mean, as we all know, they're probably more tech savvy than all of us are. They are very smart. So let them go and do that entire research work so that, they can own this decision. Only once they own this decision are they going to be really out there making the most of it, because they want to make the most and prove to everybody that they took the right decision. Right. So I think this one particular step, I think, is extremely important. And I would really, really urge all the parents here that let them take the agency, let them make the choice, and then you just see the magic happen. I think then, like, Bhakti said, they will go all out. They'll probably personally connect with professors, have these stellar recommendation letters. And I think all of us sitting here know the fact that having a, recommendation letter come from a university professor in a particular area that the child is going to be applying in is obviously something that's going to be very, very well regarded. But all of that has to come from within. That has to come from, the heart. And that is something that can only happen when you own the decision. So yeah, that's from me on this question.
No, I think that's a very relevant point. And that's why we say, a person forced against their will is of the same opinion still. That's very important. I want to move to the last question in particular. And now, Kritika, in fact, earlier mentioned about schools collaborating with summer programs and universities to make the best out of it. I want to leave on another note. How can universities and industry collaborate on making better summer programs? Because we're living at a time where we're considering ChatGPT replacing us and skills coming into play, of course. So that is one point I wanted to ask you guys for sure. Professor Chaudhary, would you like to start with this?
I'm thinking about it as I speak, actually, Abhishek. So I'm not sure if I have fully formed thoughts, but I'm not sure if in a 15-day program, let's face it, right? You want to have fun. You want to tell the students what a university is already very good at, what you stand for. I'm not sure if you want to bring in all those various elements and go only 1 inch deep and go 5 inch broad, or do you want to go 5 inch deep and go 1 inch broad? I think those are decisions to be taken. And industry intervention, of course, see, much, at least for a skill tech university such as ours, everything that we do, whether it's graphics or fashion or product, is meant for a certain eventuality which is in the industry, right? So much of what you're going to learn is going to eventually become useful in life. But one of the things you could do is have some people from the industry come in and speak with the students. Many of the faculty themselves have worked in the industry, right? So, but then if you want to use that to your advantage, you could have some of the guest speakers, some of the speakers from the industry, and there are some of these people who can truly motivate, touch your lives, excite you about, the life ahead. And I have them come speak to your students, tell them about what they do. I can think of a bunch of people. Sometimes you listen to them and you want to be them, even at your age, right? At our age, right? So I think that would be a great way to get the industry to get into the classroom. You could share some examples of projects that have been done by senior students at different points on some of the industry projects, whether you've used tire companies, old tires, to upcycle them into making some useful products, and that could be a take on sustainability. So you could look at some live projects that have been done to be able to do a live industry project in those 15 days would be difficult, right? And get something meaningful out of it. But people who've done this before you, by way of a full-fledged program, and what was the outcome, have your alumni come and share some of their experiences and projects that they've done, right? And maybe even some of the former students, summer school students, and how this mapped into an industry linkage. But I really think getting in a 15-day program or a short program such as the one that summer schools normally are, just get some people to come chat with the students, tell them about what they do, what their lives are, and what they could do at this stage to prepare themselves for life ahead. That's one of the things I could think of, and I'm sure.
I think that's a very important point you brought up, Professor Chaudhary, because hearing from people who've been there, done that, means a lot for a student who's aspiring to be that. Bhakti, what's your input on this?
Yeah, so I think it's a very university specific thing, right? I mean, for us at Illinois Tech, we are an extremely industry driven university, which means that our courses, as well as Elevate, which is our career readiness program, which is integrated throughout the 4 years of learning, and in our pre-college programs, kicks in to whoever is interacting with anything to do with Illinois Tech. So the idea is that even our courses are sort of created from feedback from industry, and we have a very high placement rate. So we have a 94% placement rate of our graduates. I'm talking about undergrads when they graduate, right? So that's a high placement rate, and for a university in the US, that ROI, especially as an engineering or a computation university, is important to look at. So for us, industry is very critical. Industry feedback and relationships are at the core of what we do. And therefore, everything we craft and create, I'll give you an example. We have a residential summer program called Engineering in the Built Environment. Now, what this does is it basically talks about how civil, architectural, and environmental engineering affect our day-to-day lives in places we don't even recognize. And one of the projects that the students have to do, and it's a very hands-on, and it can be done by anyone, right? You don't have to be wanting to study engineering. So one of the projects is building a gingerbread house with gingerbread cookies and icing, and then testing the house for it, doing a shake test or a wind test or a ventilation test on the gingerbread house that is made from certain architectural and civil engineering specifications. Because we are in the top 10 architecture schools in the US, and we are in the top 50 in engineering in the US, therefore, these things again are interdisciplinary, but they're crafted based on feedback from industry on what are the skill sets that are required, etc. Like Bulbul very rightly said, a lot of our faculty and most faculty in most universities are industry practitioners or have been industry practitioners. So that part is sort of almost taken care of. Last but not the least, I think also from an evolution perspective, and this is my last point, creating, constantly evolving your course content as a university is very, very important. And we can't be stuck in a sort of a limbo where we are saying this is selling well, so we'll keep selling this. It needs to evolve very, very rapidly, especially now. Okay, especially now. So the way we give gyan and inputs to counselors, who's giving gyan and inputs to the professors who are teaching in the university? It has to come from industry. So that's the relationship that needs to be there, and that is there at Illinois Tech. So yeah.
No, thank you for sharing. I think that gives me also a lot of insights, because kids are literally looking forward to trying their hands and implementing things. So that gives them the right avenue. Kritika, what's your take on the industry bit?
So I think, a lot has been covered by Bulbul and Bhakti. So I think every university's summer school program has its own flavor, right? And there is some core, I would say core element that is being trying to, we are trying to build through that summer program, right? So while having said that, I think all of us are very mindful of the fact, like, for example, if we are doing research today, definitely we try to organize a few generic sessions where we try to expose them to, probably academicians, researchers, people in the area of public policy, who come and talk to them about, what are they doing, the different kind of career tracks that they are taking in academics and research. And I think that is something that generally most summer schools do. I mean, we all organize that. Depending on the core that we have selected, we do organize these fireside chats where we do either invite our own alumni, or we probably invite industry experts who come and, expose these students to what are the various career tracks that they are taking. Apart from that, I think we all try to, depending on, again, the flavor that it is, we try to pepper it up with probably, an industry visit or, something like that, to sort of give them a practical insight into how things work. So I think these are some things that are already being looked at, from a macro scale in the summer schools. But like I think Bulbul said, the time period is so small that you definitely can't do like a deep dive into something. So like, for example, running a mentorship is not something that you can do in those 15 days. Right. So what you can do is give them a bird's eye view by probably doing these fireside chats, or maybe by, getting them to do these industry visits. And I think that is something that typically most universities who are developing these formats are actually looking at today. And which I think I can say for myself, as well as, for my other colleagues and all the universities that they represent today.
No, of course. I think giving even the taste of it, that this can be a possibility, absolutely helps. Anju, coming to you, you're the last speaker for this.
Yeah. So can you just repeat the question? Because
Of course,
what I understood, you wanted to know the industry collaboration, or you wanted...
I'll elaborate on that a little. So the entire intention was like how universities are already collaborating with schools to make summer schools better. How can universities do that with industry as well to make it more effective if possible?
So that is the that's the foundation. If you're talking about the new age university, like the ones on the panel, that's the foundation. So in fact, if you see, even the faculty that comes in, one is, coming from the academia background, they've been teaching and all, but I think more than 50% of them are themselves 20 years experience in the industry. So what they bring into the classroom is absolutely unimaginable, because it immediately reduces the gap, or the gap between the academia and the industry. That itself reduces within the coursework. But again, this I'm talking about the undergraduate program, and like Kritika and Bulbul mentioned, it's really difficult to bring that down so much in just maybe 10 days, 15 days. It's not possible. But yes, from a standpoint of an exposure to that space through the university, they definitely get that. When they're in the university for the summer program, they definitely have opportunities of speaking directly to this faculty who is from the industry or who's connected, and the modules are created in such a way that it does give a very, very clear view to a student who's come in to study. I mean, maybe somebody's, again, I'll stick with the subject, knows that you want to come here to learn economics, but now after doing this, they'll know why I want to do economics. So I think that is a change that the program brings in.
Thank you for that, Anju. I do, in fact, acknowledge the fact that all the universities here make sure industry is an important component, but thank you for adding that perspective. Again, thank you so much to all of you. I personally have taken away a lot from this. Aishwarya, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Abhishek. And thank you so much to all the panelists for giving us your precious time. And it was really exciting to hear from you that how summer schools are actually going to help students out nowadays. Thank you once again and wish you a very good day to every panelist present here.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. Abhishek, very well moderated. Thank you so much, Aishwarya, for ending it well and starting
Thank
it off
you.
on a great note.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you,
you.
everyone. Thanks, Bhakti,
Thank
Bulbul,
you.
Kritika. Loved being part of this panel. Thanks,
Same
Abhishek.
here.
Thanks, Aishwarya.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
All right, before we say goodbye to all our participants, just a quick and a small announcement to you all that tomorrow we do have our session starting from 8:45 a.m. sharp. So please ensure that you all attending and be there at 8:45 a.m. sharp. And we have our first speaker, Chadda sir, with us, who are going to help you out that how psychometric assessments are there for you all. So thank you so much once again and wish you a very good evening to everybody. See you soon tomorrow.